All right, friends, I'm going to review a video. It's on Jeff Nippered. Our good friend Jeff Nippered, yes. The influencer, bodybuilding, whatever, lifter. The world's smartest intensity technique for muscle growth. So the world's smartest intensity technique for muscle growth. He's got a smart technique for some muscle growth. Well, let's see what the technique is. I want to know how a technique will build a muscle, is going to build a muscle. He says a technique is going to build a muscle. I would love to know this.
Out of all the intensity techniques in the world, one has, by far, the most science behind it. And it's not drop sets, it's not forced reps, or supersets, or cheat reps. It's actually a technique called long-length partials. And a lot of new evidence suggests that not only do long-length partials beat out...
Wow, it's long-length partials. Oh, okay, Jeff. That's really interesting. Jeez, I would love to know. These long-length, it's not the drop sets that build the muscle and all these other things. It's the long-length partials that are going to build a muscle, bro. All right.
Out all those other techniques,
I don't know what the difference is if you're building fake muscle, artificial muscles. Then what's the difference? Whether you're building these artificial muscles because they're all built through inflammatory response and some gravitational loading, and even some lactic acid buildup and sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, glycogen loading. Yeah, okay.
Also be even better than a standard full range of motion. That's why you've probably seen so many people in the fitness space doing them lately. So in this...
Oh, he has to show a steroid guy. Sam Sulek, yes, in the fitness space, yes. He's building real muscles, lifting weights. The weights are building him muscles, and donuts and chocolate milk, yes.
Video...
Okay.
I want to explain why I think they work so well, how to use them, and some common mistakes I see people making. First, what exactly are long-length partials? Well, they're pretty simple. Let's say you're doing a bicep curl. A full range of motion would be when you go all the way up and all the way down, taking the elbow from about 0 degrees at the bottom to about 150 degrees at the top. But we can split that full range of motion up into two halves. Doing curls in the top half would be short-length partials because the biceps are more contracted, and doing curls in the bottom half would be long-length partials because the biceps are more stretched. And as you stretch a muscle, it gets longer, hence the name long-length partials. So to figure out if
So what does that cause if there's a long-length partial at the end, the eccentric movement part at the end? What does that do to the muscle, this so-called stretch, whatever, eccentric movement, whatever? What does it do? You say it builds a muscle when you go like this? It's building the muscle? Is that it, Jeff? Oh.
Muscle is at a long length or not, just think about which half of the range of motion stretches the muscle the most, and that's the half you want. So,
how's that working for everybody doing these half lengths? Are they building any muscle? Are you building any muscle, Jeff, doing this? How much muscle did you build doing this, Jeff? Show us. Why don't you show us an update and stuff, huh? Come on, Jeff. You're the man.
On squats, you can see what a short length partial looks like here on the left, and you can see what a long length partial looks like on the right. And notice that with the long length partials, I'm still getting a deep stretch on my quads and glutes in the bottom, but then I'm only going...
You are getting a deep stretch, so you're saying that builds a muscle. Okay, this is like a penis pump? You mean like the longer you hold the penis pump on there, you may grow a bigger penis through the penis pump? How does a penis get bigger when the penis pump sucks it and pulls it? How does it get bigger? Oh, through inflammatory response. So when it sucks the shit out of your penis, this penis pump, it grows really big because of inflammation. Oh, now I understand. So you stretching yourself here, because you're a chronic lifter, so you chronically stretching this fiber, you're getting inflammation and inflammatory response. Ah, now I understand. That's what you're trying to get. You want more of an inflammatory. The more you can get, the more you can pretend you've got muscles through inflammation. Yes, and some lactic acid buildup. Of course. Yes.
About halfway up to the top, so I'm cutting out the squeezed part. By contrast, with short length partials, you only go halfway down, so you're completely cutting out the deep stretch.
Yes, if you just go halfway down like that on the left, they're short length partials, well then you're not going to get enough inflammatory response. Of course not. You need the maximum amount of inflammation in there, and you want a little lactic acid, and maybe if you're lucky, get some pump in there if you're eating a whole bunch of, this herbivore diet, sugar shit, whatever. You may get some sugar shit in there and grow some fake muscles. Yes, sarcoplasmic hypertrophy muscles. Yes, okay, yes. So inflammatory hypertrophy, lactic acid hypertrophy, gravitational loading, unloading hypertrophy, and sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, but devoid of any real muscle growth like fiber and myofibrillar hypertrophy. Damn, this really sucks, man.
And I wouldn't recommend doing these. On lat pull-downs, a long-length partial would look like this, where you only go about halfway down to your chest. And again, that's because the lats are more stretched at the top with the arms up overhead. And while most serious lifters still assume that
Yeah, it's more stretching, more inflammatory response.
full range of motion is always best, over the last few years, a growing pile of research has shown that it is in fact the stretched part of the range that triggers the most muscle growth, not full range of motion per se.
So
Just consider this. As of now,
the stretch most triggers the muscle gains. It triggers a muscle gain. It doesn't trigger a window for protein synthesis. It triggers muscle gains. It triggers them? Like, I don't understand this. I'm so confused, Jeff. You gotta explain this to me. Me personally, I was always taught that protein synthesis needs to exceed that breakdown to build the muscle. But you're telling me that all I have to do is lift a weight and it'll magically build that muscle without the resources? Wow, Jesus, this is a miracle, bro. This is great for poor people. This is the best lifting plan for the poor slaves that are out there watching you. Those slaves, those lifting slaves that are watching you, they must revere you and love your channel, Jeff, because I gotta tell you, you got 3.98 million slaves out there, training slaves that love your channel. Oh man, because you're a miracle worker, bro. You found the secret.
now there are 8 studies comparing long-length partials to short-length partials. And 7 of those 8 studies.
In other words, man, you have found the secret for us poor slaves. We don't gotta go because we don't got any money to spend. So we can just build it like a breatharian. Like breatharians, just doing these partial movements. Like these breatharians, they live off of air. Yes. This is great, man. I love this.
Found that long-length partials were better for muscle growth. One study found no difference, and no studies favored short.
Have you seen Cali Muscle's new book? He's got one. It says there, I think it's water starvation, water fasting, starvation, starving yourself on water will make you lose weight. Did you know if you starve yourself, you could lose weight, Jeff? Yeah. I had no clue. Really? You could literally, all you have to do is starve yourself and you'll lose weight. Who'd have thought, eh, Jeff? But you're telling us if we do the longer stretch down below, going up and down, partial way, we're gonna grow a muscle. This technique will grow a muscle. Christ, man, this is excellent. Long length better. Oh. It's wonderful.
Length partials. But it gets even better, because we now also have 5 studies comparing a full range of
Fuck me, it gets even better, bro. Christ me, man. This is even getting better.
motion to long length partials, and 4 of those 5 studies found that long length partials.
What? This is revolutionary, Jeff. Thank you for sharing this, because I was so dumb, man. I always thought that, what built a muscle was protein synthesis. You understand me? I had no clue. Yeah. As far as I know, protein synthesis has to exceed that breakdown, and that's a lot. What the fuck am I going to spend all that money for on that? I don't got any money. I'm a slave. I'm a student. I got no money, man. How am I going to build a muscle? I got to follow you like these breatharians. Now I understand that breatharian diets build bodies and health. Now I know that this partial stretch builds a muscle, and I know if I want to lose weight, all I have to do is starve myself by buying Cali Muscle starvation, water fast starvation diet. This is wonderful, yes.
Were better for muscle growth than a full range of motion. Just one study found no difference, and no studies favored full ROM. But the thing is, even in the study that found no difference, it only used 10% of full range for the partial group. So half the...
No shit, 10% of full range, bro. You see, what did I tell all you out there about stretches? To get to micro injury a muscle, you don't have to lift a weight. All you have to do is stretch the muscle. Wouldn't you think that this would be causing some damage to the muscle fibers? I don't know. But he says it builds muscle. So it's not damaging. This is not damaging muscles. What exactly is it doing again, Jeff? Oh, it's building a muscle. Okay, I got it.
Subjects in this study were only doing one.
Have you measured your legs once you finished this? Have you measured the circumference, how much you grew after the session? I'd like to know how much you grew after that session. Next time, take a measuring tape and measure the inflammatory hypertrophy that you're getting, inflammation hypertrophy there. All right, please, you must measure it so we know how much you grew after the session.
10th reps, again in the stretch part, and still saw equal growth to the group doing full ROM. So not only are long length partials.
Look, even Blaha shows his calves, bro. Jason Blaha, you know him, the coach. He even shows his calves when they're pumped. He shows a picture of them. He says after 3 pumps, this is what my calves look like. Yeah, he wouldn't have any calves if there wasn't a pump in there. Like you. You look like that because you've got the pumps, and then you get the inflammatory response there. You have to measure it after the session for us. We want to see how much you grew.
Clearly better than short-length partials, they might be better than full range of motion, at least in some cases. Now, in case it seems like I'm overstating the evidence here, I spoke with the world's leading researcher in this area, Dr. Milo Wolf, and he seemed just as excited about long-length partials as me.
Personally, in my own training for about 9 or 10 months now, I've been doing exclusively lengthened partials for all of my hypertrophy work.
What I've noticed when I speak about lengthened partials or anything that's like new and exciting in bodybuilding, there's a camp of people who are like, oh, this is the new sexy thing that everyone's talking about, and I'm sure the hype will die down and this kind of thing. I should reiterate that neither you nor I are advertising this as like a really, really groundbreaking thing. It's just like, hey, if you're not trying this, like, it really does seem to work.
100%.
Yeah, you have to try this. There's every modality out there. You have to try this for more inflammation. Yes, of course. I agree.
And on your note of not being groundbreaking, we're expecting an improvement in your growth of maybe 5 or 10% using lengthened partials.
Wow, an improvement in inflammatory growth, 5 to 10%. There you go, bro. I'm telling you, this guy's got the miracle growth, the miracle secret to growing. He's growing more muscles through inflammatory response. This is fucking wonderful, man. What a breakthrough.
Partials versus full range of motion. So if you're all about maximizing your hypertrophy, that's meaningful. At this point, I'm pretty confident that lengthened partials are something that should be included in your training if you're after hypertrophy.
But it also shouldn't be super surprising that training in the stretched aspect of a lift is good for muscle growth. For years, we've had a pretty good idea that stretch-mediated hypertrophy is a thing. Remember this classic bird study where researchers saw crazy gains in the wing of a quail when it was stretched under load, and then in human studies, we've known for years that lifting at long muscle lengths is effective. So there are 2 ways I use long-length partials in my current training.
I guess we're chickens now. We're comparing ourselves. Great, okay.
The first is as an intensity technique to extend the last set I do for a muscle beyond the typical failure point. I mainly reserve this method for 2 muscles, my hamstrings.
Doesn't Jeff take steroids? He said he ordered some steroids. Oh, I forgot. He ordered them, but he didn't take them. Okay, I understand now, yes.
And my back. That's because on pretty much every back exercise, you'll reach a point where you can't get the weight all the way down, but you could still crank out another 5 or 6 partial reps in the top half if you really went for it.
I understand now, Jeff. Okay, got it, yes.
Now, most science-based lifters will, and then I'll terminate the set once I can only get the bar about halfway until you can no longer get the weight about halfway up. Usually, this will allow me to get another 3 to 6 partial reps. I also do the same thing for hamstring.
But usually,
that's because they're...
But Jeff, people make fun of you in the gym. They say that you're not doing full range. How come you're not doing full range? You have to do full range. If I do this, then the people will bother me. And if I make videos, they'll bother me online. They'll say, hey, Master T, you're not doing full range or something like that. What do I explain to them? That I watched Jeff Nipper's video and Jeff Nipper said to do half range? Like, I thought half ranges don't build muscles. Oh, damn, they build muscles. I forgot, like breatharian diets.
Another unique muscle where you can always crank a whole lot more reps after you've...
Did you know I got this one lady, she said she built muscle starving herself. Did you hear that? Yeah, did you know that you could build muscle starving yourself? Try to think about that. What exactly are you building there when you starve yourself? Oh, if you starve yourself, you're getting an inflammatory response as well. So you're building muscle through an inflammatory response because your cells are starving. And it's causing an inflammatory response all over your body if you starve. Oh shit, man, I didn't know that either. Damn it. This is really interesting.
Exhausted the full range of motion. Once you can no longer get that full squeeze at the top, your hamstrings still have a lot more juice left. So after I reach that usual stopping point, I just keep going.
Yeah, there's a lot of juice there, a lot of juice in there. Yes, definitely.
With another 5 or 6 partials until I can't get the weight at least halfway up, and then I'll terminate the set. In theory, you could keep going with quarter reps and eighth reps until you literally just can't budge the weight, but that might be overkill in my opinion. Regardless, I'd say the most important thing is standardizing your range of motion so that you pick the same endpoint from week to week. That way,
Okay, I understand. Let's see what else you got here. Some weird...
example, on week 1, day 1, we're doing all long length partials on the last set of chest supported machines.
That looks like partial reps, bro. I don't know. Looks weird.
You already have this very lopsided resistance curve where there's tons of tension in the bottom.
Come on, Jeff. They say we're supposed to do full length, man. Come on, bro. See what else you got here.
To cable flies, because with cables, you get much more continuous resistance throughout the range of motion.
Hey, you're doing full range of motion. This is a lie. Come on, Jeff. What else you got here? Some legs presses.
It's more enjoyable. There's something nice about only having to do half the ROM and still reaping all the gains.
Oh, that's cute. Very cute, very cute. I understand now. Okay.
Okay, so when it comes to mistakes, I'd say the biggest one I see is a full range of motion are really often shy to cut the range of motion short in the more shortened position, not the stretched position. So wouldn't that mean it's worse for muscle growth? I do get the argument, but I personally think this is...
See, short range and long range is better for muscle growth. Gonna grow muscles. Yes, okay.
over-extrapolating the current evidence. While I do find the new research every exercise, I think that as of now, using a combination of full range of motion and long-length partials is still best. And in general, I still lean toward...
I bet you Jeff's arms are 12 inches. I can bet $1,000 and even more that Jeff Nippered's arms are 12 inches. Okay, I'll give him now. I'll be polite. I don't even know his body fat. I'll be nice. 13 inches, and that's with this inflammatory response. Okay, 13.5. No, 13. 13 inches with the inflammatory response. And if he wants, he can even eat some of this herbivore diet, some of his sugar shit, garbage, whatever, fake grass, eat some grass and get him pumped up, get him pumped even with some sarcoplasmic artificial muscle growth too as well. And I guarantee it'll be 13. So I'm being nice, man. I'm being generous. 13 inches, bro. Yeah, 13 inches. I'll bet 1,000 and more. 13 inches. Anyway.
People using a full range of motion most of the time, with long length partials having those specific applications that we talked about. And that's because even...
Yes.
And if you're looking to put all this information together into an actionable program that you can just go to the gym and execute without having to...
See, he's got a program for that. Anytime Jeff does these things, he's got a program for that, broski. He's got a program for that. See?
But a bunch of other really fun exercises and techniques that I haven't seen many...
See, these fun techniques and exercises, he has them all, any kind, drop sets, this set, partial sets and everything. He's got everything to build a muscle except that which actually builds real muscles. I mean, I'm talking about, he's got everything that will build you a fake artificial muscle, except everything, he does everything except that which will actually build a real muscle. And what is that? What builds a real muscle? What do you think builds a real muscle? I'll see you in the next video, friends. I gotta go, man. This is just the insanity of this industry. It's crazy, man. I'll see you in the next one. Ciao. Like, subscribe, support the channel helps the algorithm. See you later.